Hello, this is wmpyr. In this video, I want to talk a little bit of some philosophy discussion type video. The reason why I'm doing this is because recently a guy sent me a video, and not just to me, to other people too. It was restricted, however. It wasn't just for the public. It was about like a 30-minute long video. I watched it from beginning to end, and basically he was talking about how he learned a very rare style, and he had training from his grandfather and his father, and he has been in these bare knuckle fights, and he really focuses on the idea of being functional. And you know, he also talks about like how other people claim they do the style and how it's incorrect, and the way he's doing it is correct. So he's criticizing the way other people do it, you know, and he's trying to tell the viewer, you know, this is how you can tell who's real and who's not, you know. Anyway, you know, I'm a guy who's pushing 40. This guy to me looks like he's not even 25 yet, all right? And the reason why I'm making this video is because I kind of feel a little bit of a responsibility for the next generation to help them out so that they kind of go in a very positive, right path, you know. And so I don't think it's right to just view what this guy is offering and say that has no value, or that sucks, and to just judge him right there, because you don't know what he's going to become 10 years, 20 years from now, you know. So I'd like to see the potential there in the person, and I would, you know, would like to encourage him to go in the right path, because I see a lot of similarities. When I was his age, I was making a lot of mistakes, and man, I went through some rough paths, you know. So to try to help the guy avoid that, you know, because I do see a lot of similarities between this guy and myself. When I was younger, I was definitely very arrogant. It was beyond confidence. It was arrogant, and I thought that what I did, my own hybrid style, was special, and I thought it was better than pretty much everything else out there, or you know. So I had that kind of attitude, very critical towards other people, what they did and their styles. But yeah, I just had this kind of very bad attitude, and I didn't even know it. You know, I thought in the name of, you know, being effective and practical, as long as it was the truth, then it was okay for me to be that way. But I was extremely disrespectful in the process, and you know, I beat up some people and stuff like that, you know, just to prove that I was better, or they were fake, or you know, whatever, this kind of things. So I had a bad attitude, basically. And so anyway, you know, sadly, I think in this society today, skill is overrated. And if you have the skill, if you have the ability, people tend to praise that a little bit too much and kind of forget that if you're a jerk, then that's not a good thing, you know. So my message to this guy is, you know, you should be as professional as possible, you know, and a professional person, you know, isn't bark. There's a lot of barking going on with people with marketing and trying to say, hey, look at me. Hey, you know, I'm legit. You know, you should check out my stuff. Don't look at other people's stuff, and you know, this kind of thing. There's a lot of barking. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of false guarantees, stuff that you can't guarantee. They're guaranteeing this is how you win a street fight. This is, you know, there's a lot of that going on today, sadly, and people listen to that because that's what they want to hear. So you know, a professional doesn't bark. You know, professional to me is not that way. They're a lot more silent and confident. And it's not the same. It's not arrogant, you know. So that I highly recommend. You know, a professional is also a lot more discreet and respectful towards other people. And if you see someone that is not as good as you are, then you try to help them out. You know, you don't criticize them, or you don't, you know, say bad things about them. You try to help them go in a positive route. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So anyway, one of the things that I want to say is this guy talks a lot about, like I said, being functional, and he talks about, bare knuckle fights and stuff like that, his own experience. So it almost seems like the way I want to say this is, if you're going to preach fighting, if you're going to preach fighting, then you kind of put yourself in one path. If you're talking about fighting, then the way I see it is pretty much MMA. There's also boxing, kickboxing, but I think with today's modern standards and stuff, it's MMA. Then go into the venue of MMA. Go train in MMA. You don't want to train. You don't want to learn their stuff. Whatever. You just want to do your own style. Whatever. But go compete in MMA. Go test out your style. And if you do well, you're like 10-0 or whatever, and in amateur cage fighting tournaments, then people will start to listen to you. Okay, so if it looks to me like that's the direction that this guy is heading in, all right, let me just say that is a tough route, but hey, if you're up for it, if you really are as tough as you say you are, and that's what you're talking about, then go that route. If not, the other route, as far as being functional and effective and practical and tactical and all that, is to become a soldier. Go to war and, go test out your stuff that way. So it's either going to war and becoming a professional soldier, or it's going to go compete and becoming a professional fighter. Those are the two directions you head in. Me personally, because this guy, I also heard him talk about Wing Chun and stuff. Me personally, I am a martial artist. I'm not a professional soldier, and I'm not a professional fighter. I have trained with soldiers. I have been fascinated with military. I have talked to special forces guys. People have been, done tours in Vietnam and all that, and I've had, heard all kinds of stories. Have trained with some of them. Learn as much as I can, whatnot, for my own research. Blah, 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 blah. That doesn't make me a professional soldier. Same with fighting. I have competed. I've even had underground challenge matches and stuff like that, but, it's still very small. That doesn't make me a professional fighter. I have trained in MMA, have trained in BJJ, all that. It doesn't make me a professional fighter, So what am I? I'm a martial artist. What is a martial artist? Martial artist, to me, is someone that basically works on perfecting body mechanics. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what my videos are about. I'm trying to help people perfect their body mechanics. All right? To me, that's the same as like a painter. What does a painter do? Painter is someone that is working on their craft. They're trying to master their craft and take it, into their own expression, and just keep going and going and going and going, So, are you a martial artist, or are you a fighter, And if you are a fighter, I think, you need to go in that direction, and there is no need to be talking about, how effective your stuff is, because your record will speak for itself. If you're a martial artist, then you just keep working on perfecting your techniques, and once again, there is no need to talk about how effective or functional your stuff is. So that's just my viewpoint, So if you don't worry too much about what other people think, and just believe in what you do and just do it, So that's my advice. I hope this helps not just this person, but other people as well. Anyway, thank you for listening, and take care, folks.